Good morning, friends. I, Dr. Devesh Bandil, Associate Professor, Suraj Gyan Vihar University, that is accredited by NAC A grade. Today, I will discuss about DBMS language. I had already discussed about DBMS in my previous lectures, and also I had discussed about DBMS architecture, DBMS users, and today I will discuss about language used in your DBMS. Mean what are the language used in your DBMS? Okay, when you will make a DBMS, how to write the query? Okay, so I am sharing my PPT. I hope you can see my PPT. Okay, so today I will discuss about DBMS languages. You know, object and outcome of this lecture. The main objective of this lecture to understand the concept of your queries. To understand the concept of query means student will write how to write the query for your create table, for your insert the data into your table, for your select the column, for your update the table. And after this lecture, student will able to how to write the query, how to create the table from the query, how to insert the data into a table from the query, how to update the data into a table from the through the query, how to delete the table, how to delete the database, and what are the select clause, what are from clause, and what are where clause. So today I will discuss about DBMS language, and these are language used in your DBMS when you will write the query. And during this lecture, I will cover so many topics like what are DBMS language, what is DDL, what is DML, what is DCL, what is TCL. Okay, and also I will start what are DBMS language. Okay, you know there are so many types of your language like your DDL, DML, DSCA, DCL, and TCL. Here you can see in this PPT, these are the all types of language. First is your data definition language, that is your DDL. Second is your DML, that is your data manipulation language. Third is your data control language, that is your DCL. And fourth is your transaction control language, that is your TCL. You know, what are the commands will use in your DDL language, like your create command, drop command, tourniquet command, and your rename command. And if we will talk about the data manipulation language, so what are the commands will use in your data manipulation language? Like your select command, insert command, delete command, and your update command. And in your data control language, there are revoke and grant. Both are command will use in your data control language. And transaction control language, rollback and commit. Both are commands will be used in your transaction control language. And I will discuss one by one all types of language. These are data definition language, data manipulation language, data control language, and your transaction control language. First, I will discuss about DDL language. I had told about that DDL is your data definition language. Okay, where you will define the definition of your data. Data definition language is used for structuring or schema of the database. You know, schema is that overall design of your database is called the schema. It is also used for creating table when you want to create the index, when you want to apply the constraints, etc. In the database, the main purpose of DDL is to store the information of metadata, like the number of schema and tables, their names, index, constraints, column in each table. The result of the data definition language statement will be set of tables which are stored in a special in your special file called the data directory or a data dictionary. That is your DDL language. You know, this language is used by the conceptual schema to access and retrieve the records from database respectively, where these records describe entity, relationship, and attribute. Here, I am giving the overview about the entity, relationship, and attribute. You know, your entity is a person, place, or thing, and your entity will have some characteristics, will have some features. Like your student is entity, table is your entity, teacher is your entity, course is your entity. These are the all entities. Okay, and if you want to classify the entities, so you can classify the entities in two categories. First category is your strong entity, sorry, tangible entity, and second is your intangible entity. If we will talk about the tangible entity are those entity who are exist in your real world in your physical level, in your physical mode. This is your tangible entity. Like your motorcycle. Motorcycle is your physical entity. Motorcycle is your tangible entity. Like your car is your tangible entity. Like your person is your tangible entity. If you will talk about the intangible entity, your intangible entity are those entity who are not exist in your real world, like your bank account number. Okay, your entity will classify it in two category. First is your tangible entity and second is your intangible entity. And also you can also define the types of your entity: strong entity and your weak entity. Okay, strong entity means who have some key attribute is called the strong entity, and your weak entity who have no any key attribute is called the weak entity. And if we will talk about the relationship, there are four types of relationship are allowed in your DBMS, like your one to one, one to many, many to one, and your many to many. And if we will talk about the attributes, you know, attributes, and also you can say that columns. Okay, and your attributes, attributes are the features of the entity, characteristics of the entity. Like as per I had told, student is your entity, the student name, father name, mother name, student address, student mobile number, these are the all attributes of your student. And there are the all commands of your DDL, like your create. Create command is used for when you want to create the table. And when you will create the table, your database management is consist from your database and your management, where you will store the data and you will manage the data. It's called the database management. And when you will make a database, in your database you will make a many tables. Like suppose you are taking a, yeah, you want to make a student system, or suppose you want to make a college management system. If you will make a college management system, so your software part will consist from two names, two parts. First is your front end, in which you will use the programming language, any programming language, and second is your back end, in which you use the DBMS. And in your college management system, you will create the many tables, like your student table, like your management table, like your all teachers table, like your all courses table, etc. And you will show a relationship between the all tables. Ki how your one table is relate from the another table. And when you will make the many tables in your DBMS, you should know how to create the table. If you don't know how to create the table, so you can't do anything in your DBMS because you don't know about how to create the table. So that's why your create command is the compulsory, and this command is used when you want to create the table. Okay, that's why I had mentioned this command is used to create a new table or a new database. So this command is used for create a new table and also used for when you want to create a new database. Okay, next is your alter command. Alter command. This command is used to alter or change the structure of your database table. For example, suppose you want to make a table of student, and there are many attributes will exist in your student table, like your student name, father name, etc. And in your student table, you have to taken the size of your student name is your 10. Okay, and after taken the size of a student 10, you have to inserted the 100 or 200 students in your table. And when you want to add the new student who have 15 characters in your name attribute, but you have to taken the only 10 size of your name attribute, and now you want to enter the student who have 15 size of your student name. That is not possible. That time you will alter the table. That time you will change the student name attribute size. There is no possible, there is no any way कि first of all you will delete the old table, and after that you will again create the new table. That is not possible because you have to already inserted the 200 300 students in a particular table. Okay, that's why your alter command is the compulsory, because this command you will change the structure of your database table. Okay, and after that, your drop command. Your drop command is used for when you want to delete the table, index, or view from the database. That time you will use the drop command. Suppose you are having a database of your college management system in which you have to already having tables like your student name, teacher name, courses name, management name, all admin staff names, etc. And now you want to delete the table from the admin staff as per your suppose as per your object of your database. There is no need of your admin staff table. That time you will delete the admin staff table. That time this command will be used, because this command is useful when you want to delete the table of your admin staff. And now tourniquet. You know, this command is used to delete the records or data from the table, but its structure remains as it is. So your tourniquet command will use when you want to delete the records or you want to delete the data from the table, but its structure remains same. For example, suppose you are having a table of your student name, and in this table you have to enter the data of students, those who are admitted in your college. And after some time, after some years, you want to delete the record of those students who have already passed from your college. So that time you will delete the record. Suppose your Ram is passed from this college, suppose Mohan is passed from this college, suppose Davis is passed from this college, and that time you will delete the all records of your Ram, Mohan, and your Davis. So that time you will use the tourniquet table. Through the tourniquet table, you will delete only record of particular student, but your structure will remain same. So that's why you will use the tourniquet table. And rename is your another command of your DDL. This command is used to rename an object from the database. So your rename command will use when you want to change the name of your table, when you want to rename an object from the database. And next is your comment. The command is used for adding comments to our table. Suppose you want to insert the another comment. Suppose you want to insert the comment into your table. So that time you will use the comment command. So these are the all commands, and these are all commands are existing in your DDL language. And now Second, I will discuss about the DML command. DML command, that is your data manipulation language. The SQL, structure query language command that deal the manipulation of data. The main purpose of this DML commands, DML language, with the your many SQL commands with work with the manipulate of data present in your database belong to the DML or data manipulation language, and this include most of the SQL statements like your insert, update, and your delete command. You know, through the create table, you will create through the create, you will create the table. But after creation the table, you will insert the student record. You will insert the student of data of student. That time you will write the insert command, and through the insert command, you will insert the data into a table. Suppose you have to create the student table, and you want to insert the records of student in this table. So that time you will use the insert command for insert the data into a table. Update command, is used to update existing data within a table. Means if you are having a table, and you want to update the data who have already inserted in your table, so that time you will use the update command. And your delete command, it is used to delete the records from a database table. So your these three commands, insert command, update command, and your delete command, these three commands are used in your data manipulation language, that is your DML. After that, I will discuss about the DCL command. Your DCL include commands such as grant and revoke, which mainly deal with the rights, permission, and other controls of the database system. You know, when you will make a database of any software, of any particular problem, so you can't give the rights to all persons. You will give the rights only to the selected person. Mainly, you will write who will work on your database. Like you will write to the only DBA, database administrator. Okay, if you will give the right to all persons which are already included on a database or not included in your database, who are working with your database and not working with your database, so that time your some person will can change your data, will can change your records. That time your DBA will face the problem. That's why you will give the permission only selected persons, mainly who are working in your database, who are working with your database, like your DBA, like your system administrator. Okay, so that time you will use the DCL data control language, and you will write the grant command, and you will write the revoke command, which is mainly with the permission, with the rights and other controls of the database system. That's why you will use the DCL. And your grant, as per I had told, grant and DCL are both in your DCL language. Grant gives you access privilege to the database. Revoke, withdraw users access privilege given by using the grant command. Through the grant command, your users access privilege of the database, so you will withdraw the user access privilege through the revoke command. So your grant command will use for the gives the access privilege to the database, and your revoke command for the withdrawal the access privilege. And now I will discuss about the TCL language. You know, your TCL transaction control language, your TCL deal with the transaction. Like your commit command, rollback, save point, and your set transaction are all commands will exist in your uh, TCL command, TCL language. Commit commit a transaction. When you have to commit the transaction, you will use the commit command. Means through the commit command, you will commit the transaction. Rollback rollback a transaction in case of any error occurs. Save point, set a save point with a transaction. Set transaction, specify the characteristics for the transaction. You will use the set transaction. So these are the all commands used in your TCL transaction control language. And after that, I will discuss about the some commands. First of all, I would like to discuss select command. Select, as from the name emphasize, from the name imply, select means when you want to select the particular column. If you want to select the all columns, you will use the select command. If you want to select the particular column, if you want to select the particular attribute, you will use the select command. And how you will write the select command? The main purpose of your select command, for select the attributes, for select the columns of your table. That's why you will write the select column 1 and column 2. Your column 1 and column 2 both are columns of a particular table. And if you want to select the both two columns, so you will write the select and your column name. And here I had taken the column name as your column 1 and your column 2. That's why I had written column 1 and column 2 from the table name. Table name means, suppose your table name is your student. Okay. So you will write select column 1, column 2 from table name. Okay. For example, suppose if you are having a table of student, and there are there are suppose three columns of a student table: a student name, student father name, and student address. And you want to select the only two columns, suppose your student name and student address. So that time you will write select student name comma student address from table name, that is your student. Okay. And suppose if you want to access the all columns of your table, so that time you will use the star. Star is the indication of for all. Through the star, you will use the star when you want to select the all columns. So you will just write select star from your table name. Table name, here I am taking the table name of your student. and I want to take the all columns. So your all columns, if you want to access the all columns, so you can use the star, because star is the indication for all. And also you will write the all columns which are separated by comma. That is your select command. Okay, I think no more description is necessary for your select command. Next is your create table command. Create table command means when you want to create the table. Suppose, as per I had told, suppose you are making a database of student management system, and in this management system, you will create the so many tables, like your student table, like your teacher table, like your management table, like your courses table, etc. And so, how to create the table? How to write the query for create the table? So you will use the syntax for creation of table. Create table, table name. First of all, you will define the table name. Suppose you want to create the teacher table. You want to create the table for teacher, and you want to take the name of this table is a teacher. So you will write create table teacher. What teacher is your table name? Okay, and after that you will follow the syntax, and according to follow the syntax, you will write the all columns which you want to create in this table. Suppose you want to create the only column 1, column 2, and column 3 in this table. So you will write the column name, data type. Also, you will write the data type. Suppose you want to create the column 2, so you will write the data type. And if you want to create the column 3, so you will write, means you will write the column name with the data type. Okay, your data type, maybe your varchar 2, maybe your varchar, maybe your integer, maybe your date, etc. So through this syntax, you will create the table. And the column parameter specify the name of the column of the table. Here, your column parameters specify the name of the attributes of your table. Name of the columns of your table. Suppose like you want to create a student table, and you want to take the attributes of a student table, like your student name, student address, and student area. So you will write student name in your column first. You will write the student area in your column 2. You will write the student address in your column 3 with your data type. With your data type. So that is the syntax for creation of table. And the data type parameter specify the type of your data. Of the column can hold like your varchar, integer, and date. Suppose if you want to take the data type as your date, you want to take the date, so you will write the data type date. Like in your, suppose you want to create a student date of birth. Student date of birth type is your data type is your date. So that time you will take the data type is date. And I had taken an example. Suppose I want to create a table for person. Okay. So and in this table, I want to take the so many columns. Your first column is your personal ID, and your second column should be last name. third column should be first name, fourth column should be address, and fifth column should be city. So you can see in this slide, your all column name, your all attribute have data type. You know, your personal ID always will be integer. Your last name always will be varchar. Your first name always will be varchar. Your address always will be varchar, and your city always will be varchar. So this is the example how to create the table. Okay, you can take the any number of columns. There is no any foundation ki you will take the uh, only two columns, only three columns, only four columns. That is depend on your object. Suppose you want to store the student record, and in your student record you want to take the column, suppose 20 columns of your student, so you can take. Mean there is no any foundation ki you will take only particular selected these columns. You can take any number of columns in your table. And now I will discuss about the insert into command. You know, you have to create the table, but you have not inserted the data into your table. So through the insert into command, you will insert the data into a table. And for this problem, you will write insert into table name. Table name means you will write the table name in which you want to insert the data. Suppose you want to insert the data into your teacher table, so you will write insert into teacher, and you will mention column 1, column 2, and your column n. So you will mention the column names in which you want to insert the data, and after that you will write the values, and you will insert the value in that particular column. Right, so always you will follow this query when you want to insert the data into a particular table. If you are adding value for all the columns of the table, so you don't specify the need of your column names. This is possible only in which case where you want to insert the data in all columns of your table. That's why there is no need for specify the column names. Only you will specify the columns names when you want to insert the data into only in particular columns. Suppose if you have to take on 5 columns and you want to insert the data in your only 3 columns, so that time you will specify the name of your column in which you want to store the data. And if you want to store data in all columns, there is no need for specifying for mention the column names. Like you can see in this slide, insert into table name, values, value 1, value 2, value 3. Suppose there are only 3 columns in your table and you want to insert the data in all columns in your 3 columns. So as per I had told, there is no need for mention the all columns name. You will write only insert into table name, value is value 1, value 2, and value 3. Value 1 for your first column, value 2 for your second column, and value 3 for the third column. Here I had mentioned the dot because if you want to, if you are having the 4 columns in your table and you want to insert the data into your 4 columns, that's why I had mentioned the dot. And your delete command, as per I had told, when you want to delete the table from your database, that time you will use the delete command. Suppose as per you want to delete the student table. Okay, so you will write the delete from table name where condition. Okay, here if you want, sorry, you want to delete the particular record, so you will write the delete from table name where condition. Here I had specified the condition because through the condition you can identify a particular record. Okay, and now update command. How do we write the query for update command? Your update table name, set column 1 is equal to value 1, column 2 equal to value 2 where condition. Through the condition, you will specify a particular record. Suppose you have to suppose you have to mention the student passport number. So through the student passport number, you can identify a particular student. That's why you will specify the condition, and in your set column 1 equal to value 1, which value you want to set in your column 1, which value you want to set in your column 2, and update table name, you will write the table name in which you want to some updation. And after that, after studying this lecture, student will able to what is ddl, what is dml, what is dcl, how to create the table, how to enter the data into a table, how to select update the table, how to delete the table, what is your where clause, what is your from clause. I had already discussed about the ddl, dmail, dml, dcl, create the table, insert data, select a column, update table in this part in this lecture. After studying this lecture, student will able to give the answer of these following questions as per I had told what is DDL, DML, DCL, and how to write the query. Okay, and you know what is where clause? You know, every query will consist from three clause: your select clause, where clause, and your from clause, in which your select clause and from clause are must compulsory, but your from clause is your optional. Your select clause and your from clause by default use in any query, and your where clause is optional. You can use the where clause, or you cannot use the where clause. It depend on your query. Suppose you want to select the all columns of your table, so that time your where clause is no required, because through the where clause you can specify the condition, you can specify a particular record. That's why you will use the where clause. Like suppose in your student table, your you have already inserted the 100 students in your particular table, and you want to access the record of particular student. So that time you will use the where clause, because in this where clause you will specify the condition. Suppose like your student id is the one of the column of a student table, and you know through the student id you can identify the particular student, because student id is your key attribute. So in your where condition you will specify the condition कि particular student id this, your particular student should have id this. So for the from the particular id you will identify a particular student. That's why I had told your where clause is your optional. You can use the where clause, and you can't use the where clause. This is depend on your table on your query. Okay, so I hope you had understood about this lecture. Thank you.